Dude.
Right. So, yeah, the platinum dragon mount seems to take the food in a pretty civilized manner.
Yeah. And just look back at Tom, see it's pretty calm.
All right. Still seemingly a little hesitant, but what the hell, right?
Is it
Kind of
wearing
walks.
that hat? Did he put the hat back on it?
Did he put the hat back on?
Uh, I didn't think the hat was knocked off. I thought, oh yeah, because I
You
made it go
dismissed
away.
it? Did you put it back on when you
Uh,
recalled it?
no, no,
Okay.
Okay.
No bell either, right?
no, I didn't even get that one on.
Okay. Well, after I feed him mine, I'll let the innkeeper feed him, and I'll just go and kind of scratch his side, just affectionately,
Okay.
just being nice to it.
Yeah, and it seems to take to it pretty well. Again, pretty kind of calmly, slowly, peacefully takes the cut of meat from the innkeeper's hand. Actually, kind of having to poke through the first kind of gap in the fence line. But yeah, because even being a dwarf, you're on the shorter side, but a halfling, shorter yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and there's kind of this shaky trust beginning to build between the innkeeper and the
Yeah.
dragon, and before too long, the cuts of raw meat are pretty much run out.
Okay. I'll just say, okay, well, you can do, if you do the same with the cooked, it's same thing.
All right,
So.
not what I expected when I woke up this morning, but
Yeah,
yeah.
that one surprises me every day. And I'll just kind of look up and cast Mage Hand and kind of scratch where the ear would be on the head.
Okay.
And so
Yeah, it kind of does that thing where you can see like the head tilt back a little bit, maybe like the shoulder blade kind of pushes up, like, oh,
Yeah.
that's the spot.
Yep. And I'll just scratch and say, yeah, he doesn't sometimes doesn't treat this creature too well, but tries to dress it up in stupid outfits and stuff. But I like it though. It's pretty cool. At first I thought it was weird, but it's good as long as you're on the good side, I guess, of Tim. But I said, all right. I'll kind of gesture to him to we can head back in.
Okay. And yeah, head back in you do, and he kind of promptly heads back, and you hear kind of a short exchange between him and probably some kitchen worker back there, and before too long, you see him come out with a wooden plate stacked reasonably high with cooked and seasoned meats that he's promptly bringing back out to see the dragon once again. This time, seemingly more comfortable with the whole proposition of meeting a dragon in front of his business.
Yeah. I'll still kind of keep watch just in case anything happens, but
Okay. Yeah, the as the innkeeper is out there, you see the whiny little dog kind of get up from the corner and actually kind of hop up, front paws up on one of the tavern tables, just staring out the window.
yeah, I'll go and join it and scratch it behind the ears.
All right. Yeah. So, pretty peaceful evening here, all told.
Once all that's
There-
done, I'll probably just head to bed.
Bungdo casts Blight on the innkeeper.
What?
Kidding. Bungdo gets another drink.
Okay.
You know what? If Bungdo's drinking, I'm gonna stay up and drink then.
Maya will drink with them.
Oh,
Bungdo's
awesome.
a drink now.
I'm going to put 2 gold down towards drinks for everyone.
It's gonna be one of those nights. I look around. Is what the hell? Melinda or Melina? Melina. Is she in the inn, or did she just keep going?
She didn't keep going. I mean,
Okay.
Hearing you all kind of talking about stopping for the evening, she seemed at least invested enough in the idea of the party meeting with her father that she was okay. Stopping over for the evening. She obviously covered any needs of hers and Eldon's.
Oh, okay. So she is staying in the same inn, though, right?
Yeah.
Is she down there with us? Like, I'm drinking, talking to Eldon.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she's probably not gonna try to keep up with you guys. She chooses to go on a bender this evening, but yeah, she's down there,
no.
sipping a glass of wine and kind of people watching.
I'll join and just kind of start talking to Eldon about, about his armor, about, what he did. Just small talk.
All right. So yeah, I mean, as you kind of exchange stories with Eldon, so to speak, you learn that he's kind of a career soldier guard. Kind of grew up sort of middle of nowhere. He's actually from kind of a small family settlement just outside Tilbury, and comes from a family of predominantly farmers. Yeah, eventually, kind of got bored of the small town life and kind of rose up through the ranks. He was a guard for several years and eventually ended up joining the military in Ramsgate. Spent a few years stationed over at Fort Eladon, kind of on the border of the Elven Forest of Unarth, and as a family of nobles was passing through one day, they, for whatever reason, took a liking to him, and he's been in the employ of the Ravendal family now for a few years. They treat him all right.
Okay, that was a lot. I was just
Yeah.
trying to get it all down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect you to take notes of every single thing, but
No. I'm actually finding this nice. I'm building my repertoire of people I know. So,
yeah.
Let's see here. Tilbury. Let me look up my map here. Because Tilbury is where?
North of Ramsgate.
Okay, gotcha. And then Fort Elodon, wasn't that what my brother's killer was like the bane of, or was that something else?
Your brother's killer had introduced himself as a former Thorn of Unarith.
Yes.
So, actually, this is a valid point. Go ahead and make let's call it a history check.
Okay.
All right. You don't have an extensive knowledge, but you've kind of heard the Thorns referenced before, and they're essentially I guess to compare it to today's terms, I would say think of it as the spec ops of the Elven Kingdom.
Oh. So
Just
he was.
highly trained soldiers,
Yeah.
typically employed in the more touchy subject matter that the military might have to deal with.
Okay, I'll say, well, you spent a few years at Fort Eladon. Uh, did you, by any chance, being so close to the Elven settlement, did you hear of anybody by the name of Amon?
Probably a dozen or so. Why?
Well, it would have been one that would have, left he was a thorn.
Oh, I certainly ran into a few of those types. Never really made much of a connection with any of them. I mean, they tend to keep everything kind of close to the chest, sneaky infiltrator types that they are.
Yeah, this one was a little more. It was a little more bold, though. He was. You'd know him if you saw him again. He's one of those types.
Well, take it from me. Anyone who does that kind of job for any length of time, whether they're willing to admit it to themselves or not, they've got an ego. They're all bold in a way. I mean, the balls it would take to pull some of the missions off that, well, I mean, I guess the elves never really took responsibility for anything, but when things happen to fall in their favor, one can only assume, right?
I will agree to that. I see you. Well, what weapon does he have?
Who, Eldon?
Yes.
Down at his side, you see, looks like a battle axe.
Okay.
Pretty finely crafted. I mean, nothing. You don't get a magical vibe from it or anything, but certainly a serviceable and well maintained weapon.
All right. And is he? He doesn't use a shield, does he?
You do see one kind of slung across his back, but it kind of seems like it's almost like a fallback option.
Okay. All right. I say, well, but his armor's pretty clean, pretty well maintained.
Yeah, everything is pretty meticulously kept. Knowing now his background and that he was a military man, you can kind of see a few mannerisms and just appearance type things that probably carried over from his early days in the service.
Okay, I'll say, do you happen to have a workshop? I see your armor is immaculately clean. Do you happen to have a workshop or something back home, or at your residence that to work on that? Because that is great.
Yeah, he kind of smiles. It's obvious that he takes pride in his appearance and his upkeep, so to speak. And yeah, he says, well, there's a pretty well stocked workshop. I mean, not exactly a fully fledged forge per se, but there's a decent workshop back at the keep. And well, when we're not out adventuring, I do my best to keep things in proper working order. He kind of polishes part of his breastplate that you can see has just like a little bit of something on it.
I kind of look down at mine and say, yeah, I try to, but it's being out adventuring is kind of hard work. It takes its toll on the armor, but.
So where are you based out of anyway? I mean, It seems you're going to Vramsgate, but I haven't really seen you before.
Oh, I'm actually from Thogladar. I actually owned an armor shop there.
Interesting. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you've probably got a good eye for these things. I'm glad to know that my kit here is past muster, so to speak.
Oh, definitely. It's impressive just to see that it's so well kept. It's very rare, and I kind of glance over at Trogdor and I say, it's very rare to see people take care of their shit. But I'm working on it. I do dabble a little in in the mechanical as well, so and magical, but
Yeah, I stay away from that. It's just confusing.
yeah, it it, it very well has has its uses though, but
Oh, to each his own, I suppose.
indeed. And otherwise, I'll just kind of sit and just make small talk with him.
All right. Anything else anyone would like to do?
Maya, never having learned how to make small talk or never having need of it before, is just kind of there people watching with Melina, trying to figure out how to start a conversation, but having no idea how to.
All right, so you're like sitting at the same table as Melina, just not saying anything.
Yep.
I'd say I would assume I'm at the same table as.
Yeah, I mean you're probably very close by, if not at the same table, given that Eldon is still technically on duty.
Somewhere during this, I'll say, "Hey Maya, why don't you ask Melina about any monasteries or anything in Ramsgate, or maybe we can stop by and you can, I don't know, do whatever monks do."
I just look at you confused because I have no idea what you're really talking about.
Do monk
Because-
stuff.
And it's like, monks aren't like clerics. We have separate traditions.
I don't know.
Trogdor eavesdropping this whole time interrupts and says, "Is there any temples to Bahamut there?"
Yeah, at that point, Melina kind of breaks her silence and says, "Well, I'm really not the religious type per se, but well, the name sounds familiar. Probably at least something."
I know what I'm doing when I get to Ramsey.
All right. And then she kind of turns to Maya and says, "So, what exactly do you believe? What do you practice? What is it that sets you apart from, well, those who aren't part of your order? Is it?"
Yes. I am part of the Monastery of the Iron Hand. We practice hand-to-hand, focus on hand-to-hand combat and protecting the areas around us from bandits and the like.
I see. And so you what led you to join this monastery then? I mean, is it like enlisting in the armed forces or something? Do you wait until you're of age and sort of sign on, or what? How? This is sort of a foreign concept to me. I'm just kind of curious.
I was actually orphaned at a young age, and they take in orphans.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry to hear that. But I mean, they took care of you then.
Yes.
Well, suppose that's for the best then.
They're better equipped than a lot of the villagers to handle such things. There was a sickness that went through my town, so people could not handle the orphans left.
Hmm. Well, it would seem that you were raised by very fine and respectable people, as you seem to have turned out quite fine and respectable yourself.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I was.
And that is why I think you would all get along very well with Father. And, well, perhaps we could find ways of furthering the cause of, well, justice and fairness in what I think we must all admit can be rather unjust work at times.
I look over at Trogdor and I look above him. I say, Trogdor, is there a leak above you? Is there water leak in town? What's that water all over your face?
I didn't hear half of that.
Yeah, you should face your mic.
I am.
You should eat your mic.
All right. What I said is I'll look above Trogdor and say, is there a leak somewhere, Trogdor? What's the water on? What's all that water doing on your face? Based on what he just said.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just say, is that a leak or something?
Did you not hear my story?
I did, but oh. Okay.
I just turn back around and go back to drinking.
All right. Return to my drink.
All right.
Bungdo wants to know if there's any food at the bar.
Oh, there's definitely food at the bar.
What is there a menu?
Sure.
Bungdo asks for a menu and looks at it. What is on the menu? What do I see?
You see a large number of pork-based products, as well as kind of standard, some beef, chicken options. It would seem that they also bake their own bread here at the Pleasant Pegasus, and it is renowned for being quite light and fluffy.
Indeed. I want to get that.
Okay. Just bread, or would you like some sort of meat to go with it?
A fine meat.
A fine
Steak.
meat. Okay.
Or
Pork
roast
it
of some
is.
sort. For tonight, he feasts.
All right. So yeah, you put in your order, and after a few minutes, you do you see presented in front of you kind of a large, still kind of steaming, like basically a half loaf of bread that's kind of just placed there in front of you, not sliced, not blemished in any way, just seemingly fresh cooked. And to the side, you see what looks like shaved beef, like thinly sliced, and from the smell of it, quite well seasoned. And it's kind of served in almost like a family style kind of setup. I mean, you might not have realized as you ordered, but this is a lot of food.
Oh, Bung, don't eat it.
Okay.
Should see the gnomish feasts back home.
All right. So yeah, it is quite tasty. The bread is indeed very light, very fluffy. Complements the kind of widely varying spiced flavor that the meat has quite well. Are you going to try to eat the whole dish yourself?
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead and make a Constitution check for me. All right. So, better part of an hour later, Bungdo is just sitting there, kind of feet dangling off the seat as he polishes off the last little morsel of beef on his plate, and kind of like, with a contented sigh, there is an empty plate in front of him, and a very visible, very evident food baby gestating within him.
Just gonna. Does it look like he ate another gnome?
More or less.
Yeah, that's what you do with your pillow.
Bungdo pays the kind bartender and waddles upstairs.
All right.
I guess I'll head up and get a night's sleep too.
Okay.
I think Bungdo and I are like essentially sharing because we're so small that he go on one end, I go on the other, and we're fine.
As you walk upstairs, you just kind of pass by Bungdo, who's still crawling up the stairs.
I will stop and help Bungdo up the stairs.
All of my weight it's just on you now as I let you drag me.
That's fine. You weigh like what, 40 pounds?
45
Wow.
now.
That's fine. I've got a 16 strength. I should be fine.
Yeah, you should be all right. Okay. So,
I will add Bungdo to my pack just to make sure. So 45, 1 Bungdo. Nope, I am still good. Barely good. I'm at -4 weight.
All right. So yes, you backpack your friend Bungdo up the stairs and down the hall.
Yep.
To the room that you're sharing.
Yep.
Cheerio, good sir.
All right. Anything else anyone would like to do?
I would like to ask the innkeeper or barkeep, do you have any fine wines?
We've got wine.
How much would it cost for one bottle?
Oh, probably call it 2 gold.
Can I pay for a little sample first?
Sure. How about I pour you a glass?
Alright.
All right. And he kind of holds out his hand. Okay, that will be just 1 silver.
Alright, I'll give him a gold because I don't have any silver.
All right. And yeah, he kind of holds on to the gold, anticipating a sale, but we'll see. Yeah, he presents you with this It's a red wine, almost got kind of a purplish hue to it. Yeah, upon tasting it, it's maybe a bit sweet. It almost tastes more like grape juice than wine. I mean, you can certainly tell that there's some alcohol in it, but yeah, not
Decent.
bad.
Alright, I'll buy a bottle.
All right. So that'll be another 1 gold, and you have yourself a bottle of wine.
I'll give it to him.
Okay.
Just regular bottle of wine.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of just like a cheap house wine, really.
Alright.
Maya will go up to bed.
I will as well.
Okay. And yeah, you all retire for the evening, getting a nice long rest in. You sleep the whole night through uneventfully, and wake up to the sunlight of the dawn just kind of beginning to shine down on the fields outside of Ramsgate. So, what are you doing today?
Do we have any major party business that we have to do?
Hey Eric,
Yes.
can you remind me what the Orb of Sending does?
The Orb of Sending.
Yeah.
That is an item that you can use to communicate with a dedicated person.
Oh, okay. So
Who-
that's what his parents have, right? Or can we just talk to Necromancer guy?
Hemomancer guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be he has the other one in the set. They're kind of like a limited scope, almost like walkie-talkie kind of setup, really. Like they're kind of dialed in to be able to communicate between each other.
They're tin cans on a string.
Yeah, so functionally, it allows you to talk to whoever the person is who's in possession of its counterpart.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I forgot we had that.
Well, we have it.
We probably should tell him what the fuck is going on.
Maybe at some point.
Can I roll a history check to see if I remember anything about this?
If you remember having the orb?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Alright, so I'll go to Maya and say, hey Maya, don't you think we ought to let the Hemomancer guy know what we discovered in Thogladar? We haven't kind of talked to him in a bit.
You just see Maya's, like, a light bulb go off in Maya's head that this is a good idea. And be like, yeah. Let me grab it out of my pack. And she rifles through it and hands Togar the orb.
Oh, you want me to talk to him? Okay. I look over at her. What was his name? I have it in here somewhere.
I don't know. I'm bad at names.
Would you like to make a history check?
No, I'm literally scrolling through my stuff. Like, my notes. Naren. That was his name.
There you go.
So do I know, like, is it, like, just basically a message? Or is it, can I, like, actually just freely talk to him?
Let me look up what I had for specifics here.
I think it was like a couple sentences. And then they get to respond with a similar length message.
And then it's spent?
Yeah, so it's a once per day thing.
Okay.
And the message that you send must be 25 words or less.
Alright. Alright, so, I'm going to activate it, and I will say, Naren found Bodak in Thogladar. Trying to think of what else.
We killed it.
And we killed it. Also found Beholder. Killed it. Any news from you? And that's it. I've got 7 words to spare, but
Okay. All right, and the orb kind of just gives off this faint greenish glow for a moment before once again kind of going inert. And yeah, there's kind of a pause, and yeah, after seems like maybe a minute or two. And to clarify, Togar is still the one in possession of the orb, yeah?
yeah, I'm holding on to it because I know it sends back to whoever it is. So
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm sitting there just kind of waiting for it.
Okay. So you get a response saying, "Dead things," almost like, questioningly.
Mm-hmm.
Still amassing power to fight threat.
To fight the threat?
Threat. Just
Okay.
threat.
Okay.
Had breakthrough. Optimistic about chances. Keep me informed.
Okay. So I will relay that to Maya, who I'm sitting right next to.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, that thing's still amassing power to fight threat, had breakthrough, optimistic about chances, keep me informed. So, yeah. So, at least he's alive. Still. So, yeah. And I'll hand it back to her and I'll say, I may send him something else tomorrow as well.
Okay, yeah.
But I'll let you hang on to it.
Put the orb ascending back in my bag.
Okay.
We benefited from the long rest, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Is Melina around anywhere?
Let's see. As you head downstairs, you do not immediately see her about. Though, you do see Eldon is downstairs at the bar, and he is seemingly about to turn around. He has two plates of food, kind of one in each arm, and just turns around and starts heading back toward the steps to go upstairs.
Oh.
And yeah, upon seeing you, just says, "Oh, good morning.
Morning.
Slept well, I assume."
Oh yeah, definitely. Is she getting ready?
Yes, she, of course, will have to have some breakfast, but
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. I'm gonna.
once that's done, I think she'll be just about ready to go.
Okay. Yeah, we're all just kind of getting up to, so I think we'll come down and have some breakfast. Just, I guess if you guys want to just meet us down here when you're ready.
That'll do.
All right. By the way, what is that smell? It smells really good.
Do they not have bacon in Thogladar?
No, it smells a lot better than the bacon that we have.
Probably a lot fresher than the bacon you had.
Fair enough. All right, I'll go down and order some fluffy eggs with lots of bacon.
All right.
The full
And,
breakfast, though.
Yeah, sounds good. So, yeah, breakfast is served by a halfling woman, sporting a very similar hairstyle to that of the halfling guy that helped you the night before. But yeah, she happily brings out your breakfast and kind of slides it across the bar to you, and yeah, you have quite a hearty looking breakfast in front.
I dig in.
All right, not bad.
Yeah. All right. And I'll just wait for everybody else.
I will come down soon after he did.
Okay.
And order the same thing.
All right.
Bungo's gonna do that too.
All right. Good breakfast for everybody.
Should
Oh.
Bungo do another constitution? Because he had a huge meal the night before.
Oh, he probably had to take care of some business sometime over the course of the night.
Okay.
Maybe. You know that.
Maybe. I mean,
Bungo
I
does
can-
in his own time. It's none of your business.
I'm just saying, that's a lot of food to put in a tiny gnome body.
He's actually making fertilizer for his fields.
He's throwing it in the bag of holding.
Oh, that'd be bad! Oh, that's nasty, man. I mean, I guess you could use it as a porta potty. Shitting in a bag of holding.
And you won't have to, like, unless you think about it, it won't come out.
Well, I
You
mean,
have to hold your hand in there too.
what you do is you pull everything else out, and then you just flip the bag inside out, and it just launches it.
I'm curious. Is it magically possible to have like a garden in a bag of holding?
I believe it's not. I know it's not capable of like breathing there.
Yeah, so you would face the issue of running out of air, but then there's also the fact that there's not really a way of dictating how all the items in the bag of holding fall, like within that extra dimensional space. So, like, you could have dirt, water, seeds, but there's no guarantee that the dirt, the water, and the seeds will all come together and eventually sprout.
Especially with no, carbon dioxide.
Yeah, you know.
No light, no. Yeah, we don't know.
Sounds doable to me.
Hey, Bungdo, you should stick your head in there, maybe see what you see.
Bungo does it.
What? shit.
What happens if Bungdo does that?
Is Bungdo doing that?
I
Well, I don't
honestly
want
have
to
no
kill
idea.
Bungdo.
I don't think you will die immediately. Like, it's just there's no air there.
Bungdo holds his breath and puts his head in.
All right. So
I'll hold on to Bungdo, one hand on the bag, one hand on Bungdo's like shirt, so I can pull him out when he's done.
okay. So yeah, Bungdo, as you hold your breath and plunge your head into the bag of holding, you see inside this kind of churning, like glowing bluish, blackish, just mass of sorts, and kind of within it, framed by the black, blue, glowing substance, whatever it is, you see all the assorted items that you've put into your bag of holding, kind of just floating, not really in any order. Some of them moving or spinning in place a little bit, almost like a zero gravity kind of situation.
What if I tied rope to someone and then went in there?
I don't know. What if you tied rope to someone and went in there?
At this point,
I'm doing that.
I'm separating Bungdo's head from the bag of holding. I'm like pulling him out. I say, "What did you see, Bungdo?"
I grab my rope while I'm in there, and then without saying anything, I tie the rope to Togar, and then to myself, and then I climb in the bag.
Wait, Bungdo, wait, stop. What did you see? Tell me.
I saw all my stuff.
Wait, but you saw... Do you, like, explain it to me exactly what it was like?
Well, I mean, I explained it to him exactly what it was like.
Okay. Cool.
With the bulbous shit and the floating and the purple.
Well, what are you doing?
I just get this really big grin, and then I open the bag and start climbing.
I wouldn't. I don't know if this rope will stay attached across the 2 dimensions. I wouldn't climb fully in. I mean, what I would suggest is, if you want to do it, climb fully in, hold on to the edge, and just slowly let go in case the rope doesn't hold. I said, climb in, test the rope, and then you can let go.
Well, I mean, then I do that.
Alright, and I'm holding the bag, like, so that if, it doesn't, like, flip and knock him off the ledge.
Okay.
So, I'm just, like, holding it open.
So yeah, Bungdo kind of like squeezes his way through the opening of the bag, kind of hanging on as much as possible. Nearly fully submerging yourself in the pocket dimension of the bag and kind of seeing all of your things there floating around.
I get the rope tight and kind of give it a tug. Just trying to see if it's still attached to Bungdo.
It does seem to still be attached. And Bungdo, go ahead and make a perception check. Okay. Carry on.
Oh, fuck.
Well, I guess I'm carrying on.
I'll give him a little bit more rope. Just a tiny bit. Until I see him let go of the bag. In which case, I'm going to hold the rope tight until I feel it like a tug on his end.
Okay.
Or until he comes back out.
I mean, I'm just floating, so...
Yeah, I'm anchoring you so you can come back in.
Maya looks pretty aghast at this entire situation.
Hey Maya, you wanna help?
How?
I don't know. This is probably a pretty stupid idea, don't you? Right? Yeah.
I mean, well, yeah, it's a bad
About
idea.
Magic,
Doesn't mean it's not fun.
Trogdor just appears behind Togar and is looking down into the bag over his shoulder.
Trogdor, you might want to grab me just in case something decides to grab him. Pretend we're fishing.
I'll hold my arms around his hips.
Oh.
After 15 seconds, I will think of Bungdo and reach my hand into the bag. I grab Bungdo?
Well, let's cover that 15 seconds first, and then you immediately assume the worst. Why is that? Am I that much of a bastard?
No, just I always assume the worst.
So, yeah, looking around, Bungdo, as you're kind of just floating there in the bag, and you see all of your things. Not really, again, kind of not really in any order. Is there anything you'd like to do in your little stint of zero gravity bag of holding exploration?
I would like to just observe and take down notes on a piece of paper. What I see. Just, research.
Okay.
Bungdo is going to research bags of holding and the alternate dimension that they reside in.
Did you think of the paper and have it just appear in front of you? Like, was it in the bag of holding?
That's the kind of thing that I'm, testing and experimenting.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying this shit.
I was just curious where you got the paper. Like, that would be fucking cool. Just jump in and think, paper! And it just pops up right in front of you.
I mean, I do have paper.
Oh, okay.
So, to clarify, are you... do you have the paper in a pocket, or are you actually going to try and summon it from somewhere in the bag of holding dimension?
Well, I assume I have the paper in my pocket, but, I mean, if not, wouldn't it be, right in front of me?
Are you thinking about it?
Yes.
As soon as you think about it, it just appears in your hand.
That's awesome!
Oh!
That's fucking sweet!
Dude, imagine having a bag of holding combat arena where it's literally, as soon as it gets knocked out of your hand, you can just think of another weapon and it'll come back to you.
Yes.
Like Thor style. Oh, I need to do more research on this. I could create...
At this point, is he being pulled up?
I could create the world's first 0G combat arena.
Yes.
People will literally get into a bag of holding, and I will just... this is going to be phenomenal. I'll build an arena there.
And as he's having this string of revelations, there is a tug on actually not on the rope, on his robes, as Maya's hand just kind of emerges from the shapeless, formless border that kind of encompasses the entire pocket dimension, and grabs onto him. Okay, Becca, go ahead and make call it an athletics check. So you feel Bungdo, and it seems like you have him in your grasp, but then he seems to wriggle free.
I'll start pulling on the rope to pull him back up.
Okay.
I'm pulling on
Bungdo tries to swim away.
The interesting thing from Bungdo's perspective is the rope and the hand are coming from entirely different places.
Yes. Drawn and quartered Bungdo.
So, the rope pulls and begins kind of dragging Bungdo toward one of the churning, glowing borders of the pocket dimension.
Once I realize that
I'm trying desperately to swim away.
Togar is actually pulling something on the rope, I'll let go, thinking what I don't have is Bungdo.
Alright, Togar, go ahead and make a... Let's call it an athletics check at advantage.
Okay. Oh, that's great.
So yeah, almost instantaneously, Bungdo is just pulled all the way to the swirling bluish blackish barrier and just sucked through, and he just kind of launches out of the bag and with a pump finds
Bungo
himself
just
back on the
begins
floor
scribbling furiously on his paper.
again.
Bungo, what did you see? This may be like you may be the first person to go inside of a bag of holding and come out.
Bungo just like waves Togar away and keeps scribbling. I'll share the notes
I'm
with
reading
them
over
later.
his shoulder.
It's in Gnomish.
I speak Gnomish.
You completely.
Yeah, I was teaching everybody else
you're
Gnomish.
I try to read over his shoulder, but get very confused very
Fine, I
quickly.
write it in Celestial.
I read over
It's a
his
new.
shoulder.
Yes. Trogdor now knows the intricacies of a bag of holding.
No, it's in Gnomish. Togar can read it.
I'm not being annoying about it. I'm just kind of reading as you're writing. So,
Well, that's all for Bungo.
shit, we haven't even been an hour awake, and we're already fucking discovering worlds.
Pretty much.
I make a mental note of everything Bungdo says, or not says, writes down.
Okay.
Just
So around this time, you just hear the voice of Melina from kind of over all of your shoulders, like, and this is what you do to pass the time, eh?
I look
Bungo
over
just like
and
excitedly nods his head yes.
I look over and I say, you know, he'll do anything if as long as you present it to him in the right way. But yeah, no, we're learning things here.
She just says, you know, I thought perhaps you were self-sacrificingly heroic, but now I'm beginning to wonder if, you know, perhaps my evaluation was a bit skewed. Perhaps you're just crazy.
No.
Bungo
Well,
is still nodding his head yes.
yeah, he is a little crazy, but Maya, myself, and I look over at Trogdor most of the time. Trogdor, we're all pretty on the ball, pretty sane. We're not too bad.
If you
Speak for
say so.
yourself.
Huh?
I said, speak for yourself.
So,
Oh, if you say so.
yeah.
So, shall we?
Sure. I guess I looked down at Bungdo. Bungdo, are you still writing?
When Bungo finishes writing, he looks back up and joins the party once more.
Okay.
All right. And yeah, so you depart from the pleasant Pegasus and continue on your road to Ramsgate, kind of led and directed by Melina. You go on for probably another 2-3 hours. Pretty uneventful. You see minimal traffic. You know, I mean, there's certainly some that you would pass, given that you are approaching the capital of the entire kingdom. But overall, it seems like a pretty lazy, peaceful day. As you come up to what you assume must be one of the last crossroads before reaching the walls of Ramsgate, Melina kind of turns and says to you all, well, I'm sure you had business in the capital, and I wouldn't want to keep you from that. But should you still wish to meet with my father, our keep is just to the east, along this road, and she kind of gestures off to this kind of large parcel of land that you can see is kind of framed by a number of like rocky hills. Standing kind of at the summit of one of those hills, you see a rather imposing looking keep. Seemingly quite old, though much like Eldon's armor, very well maintained. Hard to make out a ton of detail from there. Your current vantage point is probably still a half hour, 45-minute walk from where you are. But yeah, Melina just kind of looks at you, expectantly, but also understanding that there may be some other stuff you need to attend to. Me for a minute.
I look at everybody else.
We're
I don't.
just,
Yeah.
we're just passing through, so
Yeah, I don't have
we
anything.
don't have any planned business.
No, I mean.
I would like to check out the temple.
Yeah.
Potential temple.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that. That's okay. I would like to check into a library to look into a few things as well. But yeah. I mean, Bungdo?
I'm fine with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess we'll just go straight there then. Now, how far away is it? Or do we?
Is that what you're asking?
The
Yeah.
keep. Yeah.
Probably half hour, 45-minute walk.
Distance wise, how far?
Hmm.
Mile or two?
Yeah, probably like a mile and a half-ish.
I lean into Bungdo's ear and whisper, "Hey, Bungdo, you should turn into an ostrich." I say, "Hey, how about we race
Turns
to
into
the,
a rhino.
So how about we race to the keep? Just for fun."
You're saying this to who?
To the group. Just everybody.
Okay, this could
It's
be
just a pretty straight, like, it's just a straight road, right?
It's straight road for probably about half of that distance, and then it begins to kind of snake its way through the rocky hills that surround the keep itself.
Yeah.
The approach to the keep actually seems to kind of circle around one of these hills, kind of weaving through the rocky outcroppings for a bit before finally reaching the front gates.
You guys want to race?
I'll catch up with you guys later. I'm gonna look for the temple.
Oh. Okay. Well, that makes it less fun. Alright. I guess I look at Melina. Should he just come by when he's done?
I suppose that would work. I can let the guards know to, grant him passage.
Okay, yeah. Well, be sure to let them know about this, and I kind of gesture to the dragon.
Yes, of course.
So, as you can see, it's not, he's not quite subtle.
That's one way of putting it.
So, alright. I guess I will hop on Bungdo's back.
All right.
Whether we're running or not, I'm just gonna ride on him then, since he's a rhino.
Oh, can I have my tablet before you guys go?
Yeah.
Now don't go breaking that or losing it. It's old magic.
Indeed.
I give Toga the stink eye.
I just waggle my fingers at him and whisper, "Old magic." So, and I guess we'll just head towards her place, and Trogdor can do his thing.
I'll also jump on Bungo's back.
Okay. So, yeah, you continue on down the road toward the keep of Clan Ravendal. Again, pretty uneventful walk. As you approach, you can kind of make out a little more detail on the exterior of the keep itself, which is certainly a formidable structure. Certainly doesn't seem to be, well, outfitted for any sort of conflict, although you can tell that it's probably seen its fair share. There are a few remaining kind of pockmarks and things along the exterior, outermost walls of the keep, and as you as the path kind of straightens out in the approach to the main gate, you can see that there are a number of purplish banners with black birds emblazoned upon them. Probably a family crest of some sort. But you make your way all the way to the gate, at which point Melina kind of takes a few steps forward and says, "I have returned. Please allow me and our guests back in, as we have quite a bit to discuss." And without a word, the large iron-braced wooden gates in front of you just begin to slide out of the way. And the path before you opens up, and you see what actually looks to be a rather, quite occupied interior courtyard. You see a number of smiths working, just kind of crafting everyday sort of items. You see what look like a number of farmers kind of shuffling their crops back and forth, and a few kind of just general craftsmen, maybe a woodworker off in one corner, and off in the other looks to be a tinkerer of some sort.
This is all in their keep?
And there's like an interior courtyard. So yeah, you get through the main gates, and then inside the walls, but before you actually reach the castle, essentially, like the interior section, there is a courtyard in which you see all this going on. And so you and your, well, mounts or fellow party members, as the case may be, make your way in, and well, Melina is quick to kind of head up the front flight of steps toward a large wooden door from which hangs another purple banner.
I'll hop off
Says-
Bungo.
All right.
I will too.
She says, "Well, shall we?"
I look at Bungdo. I say, Bungdo, are you gonna? You can't go in as a rhino.
Bungdo looks sad and then turns back into Bungdo.
Does Bungdo still look sad when he's Bungdo?
Well, of course.
I hand Bungdo a starfruit.
Bungdo is now happy.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea, so I get out a starfruit and offer one to Melina and her companion.
Okay. All right. And yeah, they take your starfruit. Eldon being kind of unsure what to do with it. Really, it seems like his first time handling one of these things. But yeah, even he kind of just do a, like a thank you ? Nod.
It's pretty tasty, and I honestly, I personally don't know how to eat a starfruit. I know you eat the insides, but
Yes.
Yes.
Togar would know how.
At this
So.
point, yes.
So I show him how.
Okay.
How to eat a starfruit 101.
Indeed. All right. So, now that you're all back into your more or less normal forms,
What do you mean, more or less? You got a problem with gnomes?
I didn't say that.
Yes, the DM hates gnomes. You will die.
Bungdo, quit trying to fight with God, alright?
I just point my stick up at the sky and shake it.
I look at Melina, I swear the rest of us are fine.
All right. So yeah, after enjoying some starfruit, Melina then kind of just looks at the rest of you and says, "Oh, are you ready to go inside?"
Yeah, sure.
All right. So she kind of flings the door open, seemingly quite comfortable with this place now, and yeah, she just kind of like strides her way right down this grandiose entrance hall. There's again just banner after banner after banner, kind of draped down from the what look to be kind of second-story balconies and overlooks. Large arched ceiling, and every footstep in this hall just echoes over and over and over. There are probably a dozen or so guards stationed at various points along the borderline excessive length of this entrance chamber, so to speak. And as Melina makes her way down toward the end of the hall, she kind of slows down and looks over her shoulder, realizing that she's probably unintentionally kind of put some distance between herself and the rest of the party.
Well,
Like,
I was
oh.
actually going to ask if
Uh-huh.
I'm just going to follow her about 5 feet behind her. I would
Okay.
like to be stealthy. I'm not gonna make a noise, but I want to try to not make a noise while walking.
Oh, okay.
I just, I'm just walking normally, but I just want to try to walk so that I'm not, you know, on the floor.
Not like Bungdo.
Yeah.
Not like Bungo. All right. Yeah. Go ahead and make a stealth check. Okay. So your footsteps themselves aren't exactly quiet, but you're able to kind of match them up enough with Melina's footfalls that they don't necessarily give too much away.
Okay. And once
Unless
she
one
stops,
was,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, unless one was like explicitly listening for, oh, is that like a double footfall? You probably.
Okay. I'll go with that. And I'll just stop about 5-10 feet from her when she turns back.
Okay. I guess this brings up a valid point. How would everyone else like to proceed? Do you want to try and hang tight to Melina, or just kind of walk through at your own pace? Maybe take in the architecture or something.
Was there anything shiny near the entrance when we walked in?
I mean, there are some rather nice looking like torch sconces and things like that, but
Bungdo is touching it.
okay. So yeah, Bungdo is kind of like you'd basically have to like hop up in the air to poke, poke.
I see
That's what he's
Bungo
doing.
distracted by the sconces and think that they must be interesting if Bungo's distracted. So I walk over to the sconces and ask if Bungo wants me to lift him up so he can touch them.
Oh, yes, please. It's very hard to do it myself.
Oh, that's a strength check.
Or you could go athletics.
Bundo's really light.
I would say at a disadvantage. Well, never mind.
Yeah, so you go to pick Bungdo up and you just kind of like feel this in your back.
Ooh.
Yeah, nope, that's not happening.
Can I do a medicine check to put it back in place?
Sure.
Hey!
So there's a second crack, but you feel like maybe it would be wise to avoid heavy lifting for a little bit.
All right.
Does the sconce detach from the wall?
Just with Bungdo poking it.
No. Like, is it detachable?
Oh, the sconce itself, no. I mean, there is a torch placed in it.
Is there a chair nearby?
I'll be right back. My food's here.
Okay. There are a number of benches that kind of line the side of the hall.
How heavy are they?
They look to be made of stone.
Oh. Okay. Well, I apologize to Bungdo. Even though he's not here to hear me. And I then look somewhere else and get distracted by all the things I've never seen before.
Okay. All right.
And I get, distracted.
Okay.
While I was riding Bungdo to get here, I was very distracted by everything in town.
Oh, like in the courtyard of the keep.
The entire trip.
Okay.
I'm like one of those over-enthusiastic tourists.
I'm just looking around for the temple.
Okay.
Do you ask for directions?
Nope, just looking.
If there's any guards, I will.
Yeah. So in the meantime, Trogdor has been kind of closing the distance to actually get into Ramsgate proper. And yeah, as you approach one of what you assume are probably several gates to this city, Yeah, the gates are kind of held open. There are probably half a dozen guards posted that you can see at least around street level, you know. And so yeah, if you'd like, you could approach one of them and ask for directions or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I'll approach and I'll say, hello, I'm Trogdor Thuchian, a paladin of Bahamut, and new to Ramsgate. I heard there was potentially a temple to Bahamut here. Do you happen to know where it's at?
The guard has kind of this like sort of blank look on his face. He just says, well, I don't know much about this Bahamut, but well, if there was a temple to Bahamut, it'd probably be in the southeast quarter. You could check there. From here, you'd probably want to go a few streets down and turn left, and that'll get you to a good number of the temples and houses of worship that we have here.
Alright, thank you for the information, and then I pull out a gold and give it to him.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, and thank you. And I'll start heading down those few streets and take a left.
Okay. So yeah, you kind of take some time and eventually reach the what you gather to be the general location which this guy was directing. And as you follow this one street that you've turned left on, down kind of into the core of whatever this section of town might be, you do see that it seems to kind of bend gently and eventually lead to a single large kind of circular area, a small town square of sorts. And as you come into this clearing, this central area, you do see a number of finely constructed, to be temples and churches and the like. There are a number of different kind of religious symbols displayed around here, and if you'd like to go ahead and try and find something pertaining to Bahamut, you can go ahead and make let's call it a perception check. I mean, you know what that would look like, so it's really just a matter of seeing it.
Alright.
All right. So yeah, looking around, you see a number of various religious symbols. You see a large hammer hanging above the front doors of one temple. You see what looks like a large, like brilliant stained glass sun emblazoned on the front of another. And it takes a moment, but you do eventually see what looks like a rather modest temple. Probably half the size or smaller than most of those that you see around here. But it is unmistakable. There is the ever recognizable platinum and blue symbol of the platinum dragon hanging on a pair of banners that sort of frame the white marble entryway to this temple.
I would like to approach and potentially go in if possible.
Okay. Yeah, as you approach, you do see that the doors to the temple are swung open to the outside, kind of held open and welcoming to any who would choose to visit the temple.
Is there enough room for my steed?
What was that?
Is there enough room for my steed?
Yeah, there is.
Alright, I'm gonna ride him in.
Okay. So, yeah, you kind of ascend the front steps and make your way to the temple proper, and kind of casually uh, make your way in on back of your platinum dragon mount. There is a large aisleway that kind of reaches all the way to the back of this large chamber that seems to make up the majority of the temple. There are a number of very precise and lifelike dragon statues adorning the sides of the chamber, all kind of up on pedestals, and you see a number of like nameplates and that sort beneath them, denoting them as various figures in the history of the Church of Bahamut. You see, as you continue on, not all of them are full-blooded dragons. Some of them are, in fact, dragonborn. And as a matter of fact, you do see a statue of the paladin Coriel, whose mace you now wield.
I'm. What did I miss, by the way?
We hopped over to Trogdor, who is checking out the Temple of Bahamut in Ramsgate.
Okay, cool.
I apologize that I couldn't lift you up.
It's okay. I'm only heartbroken that I didn't get to touch the sconce. It was my one true dream.
Maybe when we leave, Drogdor can help.
Maybe. All right. So yeah, as you're kind of making your entrance to the Temple of Bahamut, anything you'd like to do or look for or anything like that? Brown.
Apparently I'm muted. But, I was asking if, I don't know what they'd be called, but like a minister or like a higher up in the temple, can I just look around for one?
Yeah. As you look around, you can see, you do know from your time serving in the temple at Yordhall that there are kind of various tiers of the clergy of Bahamut. And you do recognize that most of the people kind of milling about here are just general like priests. There are some essentially deacons and things like that. But there is a single cleric that seems to carry himself with a bit more authority. You see him kind of conferring with a number of what look to be initiates. You gather this is probably the one to talk to if you're looking for the one in charge.
Cleric with a bit more authority, and then what? I lagged and I couldn't hear the rest of it.
That's the important part.
Okay. I guess I'll approach that cleric, and I'll greet him in a similar fashion as the guard.
Okay. And yeah, as he kind of finishes up his discussion with the initiates, he was giving some instruction to. He kind of like visibly collects himself and it's very. He kind of exudes this calming aura of sorts. And he just turns and says, "Greetings, Paladin. What can this humble cleric do for you today?"
Are you still on the back of your steed?
No, I'll get off.
Okay.
I will set down the tablet to where I guess like as if it was standing up, kind of like a tombstone, and I'll present it to him and say, while I was on my adventures, I was instructed by Bahamut himself to retrieve this among the Mace of Coriel, and I present that to him as well. And I was wondering if I could have some help figuring exactly out what this is.
All right. His very calm and collected demeanor kind of just cracks for a moment as you can tell like he's pretty surprised by what's being presented to him. And he just gives you this shocked look, like, yes, we can certainly well make available to you everything that is at our disposal here. So the Mace of Coriel.
Yeah, I'll present it to him and I'll hand it off to him.
He like very gingerly takes it and kind of just holding it, open hands, kind of like tilting it, getting a feel of it, and eyeing it over. And you see him kind of like close his eyes as though to kind of commune with his deity, or at least get some divine sense of whether this is truly what you claim it is. And yeah, after that brief moment of his eyes being closed and just calmly kind of communing with his deity, he slowly opens his eyes and looks down at you and, well, looks up at you probably. And
Is he not a dragonborn?
He is a dragonborn, but he's a little older. Kind of got the hunchback thing going on a bit. He looks at you and truly, you must have something great and terrible in your future. Take this. I'm sure you'll need it. Now, this other artifact that you bring, what do you know of it?
Well, all the words inscribed on it is written in Celestial, and from what my party has gathered, somehow you can open a portal to the City of Doors. I'm not sure much past that.
I see. And where did you find this item?
Both this tablet and the Mace of Coriel were in some sealed, I don't even know what it would be called, just, I guess, a temple of some sort, in the desert north of Strassa, where we ended up fighting as a whole. We fought the Deceiver himself and put him down for good.
The Deceiver. Which...
Yormorn?
Oh. That is certainly a surprise. You put him down for good, you say?
He was in some kind of undead state.
Interesting. Well, I can certainly make some resources available to you should you need to investigate this tablet. I am not the foremost authority when it comes to such historical things as this, but well, we have a number of close friends at the library here in town, and well, anything you need, I'm sure we can provide for you here. Should you just let us know?
Alright, I didn't catch your name, by the way. What was it again?
Draxon Kernan. I can put that in chat. And your name?
My name is Trogdor Thuchian from Yord Hall.
Trogdor. I feel I'll be hearing much more of that name in the days to come. Well, in the short term, what can we do for you?
Could you tell me who I should talk to at the library to potentially figure out what this tablet is and how to use it?
Well, there are a number of the knowledgeable historians that call Ramsgate home, but I suppose for something as unconventional as this, well, you should probably speak to Yelfir.
Gesundheit?
There you go. He is one of the foremost authorities on, well, just about any sort of old magic. And, well, he's a bit strange. But anything that references the City of Doors, I think he'll be quite interested in. What do you know of cosmological theory, Trogdor?
You what?
Not much then, I assume.
Can you give me a brief layman's term description of it? Maybe I've heard of it.
The general idea of how the various planes and dimensions of reality connect and interact with one another.
I think I've heard maybe some minor things, but I don't really understand it myself.
Togar's wishing he was there.
Well, suffice it to say that Yelfir is a bit unconventional in his beliefs. And while many seem to vehemently disagree with him, there's no denying he is truly a brilliant scholar, and anything that he finds merit in, I can't help but at least look into. Someone as open-minded and knowledgeable as he would probably prove to be an invaluable resource in deciphering whatever this text may have to offer.
Alright, and you said he was strange. In what way?
Well, it takes a unique mind to fathom the things that he posits in his studies. He's a bit unconventional, eccentric.
It means you should bring Bungdo.
And Togar.
And me.
Bring friends.
Um,
I wouldn't be afraid of him if that's what you're concerned about, but he's an interesting character.
I guess just to help me find him easier. Is he a Dragonborn as well, or is he of another race?
He is, in fact, an elf. Full-blooded, if I'm not mistaken, and rather old himself. As you know, their kind tend to live for quite some time. And, well, Yelfir is certainly no exception. He, not to be morbid, is probably near the end of his days, though certainly quite spry, given that. But he has had centuries to accrue all of the knowledge and conceptual prowess that has led him to the beliefs that he has.
Sounds like a lucky man.
I smell Victor.
That's what I was thinking. Alright. I thank you for the information you've given me. And I'll pull out a couple of platinum and I'm gonna hand it to him and say this is a donation for the temple.
May the Platinum Dragon himself keep a watchful eye on you and lend you his strength in your times of need.
As you as well. And I climb back up onto my steed and slowly start walking out back towards where the rest of the group went.
Okay. So, as that whole experience was going down, you all having made your way into the main entry hall, Ravendal Keep.
Cut out.
I cut out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
1 second. Testing?
Testicles.
Okay, we'll see how it goes from here.
Right.
But yeah, so the rest of the party is at Ravendal Keep, and a number of you, a pair of you, are still kind of back at the front door, having been distracted by the shiny torch sconce on the wall.
Among other things.
Among other things.
Indeed.
But yeah, at
Bungno
this point,
starts exploring.
Melina kind of... What?
Bungno just starts exploring.
Bungno.
Of course he does.
And what did you say, Becca?
I explore with Bungno.
Okay. Yeah, and as you start kind of looking around and admiring some of the rather nice tapestries that are kind of hanging on the walls, between the hanging family crest banners of Ravendal clan. Eventually a voice does kind of ring out through the way. Well, are you ready?
Bungno does not hear her.
I look up and then I poke Bungdo and I'm like, I think
What?
she's
What?
saying
What's going on?
we should explore later. She seems to want to talk to us now.
I'm
You
going.
hear me?
Yeah.
Bungno just kind of shrugs and follows them, realizing what's going on.
Okay. So yeah, Melina kind of continues forward, kind of watching her pace a little more this time. Kind of flinging open the next set of double doors and walking in on looks like a meeting of sorts. You can see look like a number of kind of grizzled advisor types or some sort of council or something convened and just discussing kind of openly over what looks like the remains of a rather nice lunch. You see a kind of short, blonde-haired man with a kind of large bald spot near the top of his head, seated along one side of the table. Wearing nice, if perhaps not as nice clothing as everyone else. Directly next to him, you see a somewhat weathered-looking individual. He has longer, probably about shoulder length, white hair and kind of a, like a 5-6 day beard going on, also very, very white. But he has these just odd, almost unnaturally bluish eyes. And he just kind of seems to be sitting and listening to the conversation that's going on around him. Seated next to him is this rough-looking, old military type. Still, despite clearly being well above the age to serve, still walking around in a full suit of armor. Seated
Like
with
a Bill from Left 4 Dead type?
Yeah, kinda. A little more, like kind of stern, serious. It looks like he was a total badass back in the day.
So he's Chuck Norris now.
Kinda.
Okay.
You can see that there is a long sword kind of in its scabbard, propped against his side of the table, just kind of leaning there, as though he is always at the ready. And then at the head of the table, you see a rather youthful-looking, though clearly still aged individual. Another man, full bushy gray beard, kind of tousled gray hair, medium length, wearing a borderline obnoxious purple outfit. He seems to be the most animated of the group, and he is kind of concluding some sort of talk about some political mumbo jumbo that, quite frankly, probably goes over a lot of your heads.
Does he look like a hippie? Like a modern age hippie?
If I had to kind of put him into a stereotype that's relatable, I'd say like kind of somewhere between cool college professor and crazy cool uncle.
Okay. Alright, I wasn't sure what vibe I was getting off of him.
Yeah, like well, he just exudes this kind of surprisingly youthful energy for the clearly aged exterior that he presents.
Like,
Gotcha.
Dead, the Dead Poet Society.
Oh, Robin Williams.
Robin Williams, yeah.
Oh yeah, kind of like that, yeah.
I can't say I've seen that.
I've only seen the beginning, but
I will have to check it out. But I get the
Just
idea.
think of Robin Williams.
yeah. Robin Williams as a professor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So Flubber.
But not in like
Not
what
Flubber?
is it? Not with Matt Damon.
Not
Yeah.
Good Will Hunting.
Demon!
Yeah,
Oh.
because he's too serious in that one.
So Flubber. I'm just gonna imagine Robin Williams and Flubber.
Basically, just imagine Robin Williams. Good.
Okay.
But yeah, so he kind of finishes this animated, surprisingly expletive-filled, but friendly and approachable at the same time rant about somebody. You didn't quite catch who they were discussing as you entered. Yeah, and at that point he kind of jars his attention from the discussion going on at the table and says, "Oh, my daughter has returned.
Oh boy.
One moment." He
Is
gets
her
up.
name Zelda?
Her name is not Zelda.
Dang it. I mean, I know her. Is her middle name Zelda?
You don't know.
Melina Zelda Ravendall.
Has a nice ring to it.
Yeah, it really does.
Gryffindor.
Indeed. And so he immediately hops up, well, not hops, but promptly stands up, kind of pushing the chair back just with his legs, stands up, and proceeds to briskly walk down off the platform that the table is perched upon. Walking out to first give his daughter a big hug, kiss on the cheek, that whole kind of friendly, warm ritual. And he says, "And who is it that you've brought today?" She kind of looks over at you and says, well, I think they call themselves the Starfruit Adventurers, but despite the name, they're quite respectable and well, if nothing else, I can say they're certainly charitable souls, and I just can't shake the feeling that they're good and trustworthy individual. He kind of looks you all over and he's kind of sizing you up. Just walks over and says, and your names?
I'm Togar Hammerstriker, and I'll extend my arm to shake his hand. And just say I am an armorsmith by trade, and currently I throw daggers at people, I guess.
Right. Sticking with the pointy end and all that.
Yeah.
Good. And he shakes your hand and moves on. Next person in line. Whoever would like to be the next person in line.
Bungdo sticks. Go ahead.
My Callie, from the Monastery of the Iron Hand, and I do a, head bow.
He kind of, puts on the serious face. There's still kind of that, I don't know, like jolly borderline Santa Claus vibe coming off of him with like rosy cheeks and everything.
Maya still hasn't gotten used to talking to strangers, but she feels much more brave now after recent events. Just talking to like higher level strangers.
Mm-hmm. And kind of picking up on your cues. He gives a slight bow and says, "Pleasure to meet you. Maybe we'll talk more later." And you, kind of gesturing over to Bungdo.
Bungdo sticks out his hand.
Bungdo fair tinker.
And then I do a really obnoxious, pompous bow and come back up.
I'm a gnome.
And I'm a human. Nice to meet you.
No, that is my occupation. I am a gnome, and I do gnomish things.
Interesting. Well, nonetheless, I'm a human and I do human things, and it's a pleasure to meet you.
Indeed.
Sticks out a hand for handshake. Handshake?
Oh, my hand was already out.
Yes. Handshake.
Cool. Alright. Then kind of addressing the group. Says, and in case you had not gathered, my name is Magnus Ravendal. One of the 5 counts of Ramsgate. And, well, just generally speaking, old fool that people come to for advice.
Oh, we have another member who's currently at the Temple of Bahamut.
Religious man, then.
Yes, he's a paladin.
Bungdo raises his hand.
Yes.
How does one become a count of Ramsgate?
Through a number of things that, well, I'm glad that my parents did and I didn't have to do.
Like what?
Oh, politics and backstabbing and all of that bullshit. So, all I can do is make the most of the position that I am granted here in life, and as you may have learned from my lovely daughter, I do my best to bring some positivity to the world.
Indeed.
And then Bungdo just wanders off and starts looking at a lamp.
Okay.
I'm like chuckling at him the whole time he's just talking. And I'll look over and I'll say, yeah, Bungdo is a little bit eccentric.
Curious. He's curious.
I don't know where to look now because I want to look at what Bungdo's looking at. But there's so many other things to do.
I'm gonna insight check Maya. I want to see if I see this.
Yeah, I mean, is Maya trying to hide that she's clueless, or is she just like clueless?
Maya looks like she's having an internal battle of what she should do.
Okay. So I'd say Togar picks up on that.
Okay. I'll say yes. Maya, can you just make sure Bungdo doesn't get into any trouble, please?
Say okay with a nod, and I wander over windows looking at the lamp.
Okay.
And I look in between Bungo and the lamp.
Okay. So
But I still listen.
Yeah.
For the conversation. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah, Bungdo, he's harmless, but
Well,
quite useful.
so he's not quite harmless.
He's mostly harmless.
I'm good at self-defense.
He's good at self-defense of others.
Can't say I've heard of that, but it certainly seems like an interesting pursuit. Excuse me one moment, and you see him kind of dart back over to the table where he was just kind of concluding his meeting, and you see him like shaking hands and slight bows and all that. And as his presumably his guests stand up, you see a what looks like probably half a dozen armored troops come marching up from further back along the platform. To be honest, they had kind of looked like suits of armor just standing there almost in an ornamental fashion until you finally saw them move. And they sort of file in and surround the longer white-haired individual, the gruff military man-looking type. And as they've said their goodbyes, the whole formation then begins to kind of march pillar formation down the central aisle toward the doors and toward the exit.
This attracts Maya's attention, so now she's watching that.
Okay.
Bungdo is still observing the lamp.
I'm watching this procession.
Okay. And they're in perfect unison. Just make their way down the steps, along the sort of carpeted section that leads up to them, and through the double doors with the now clearly Ravendal guards that are posted at the doors, just closing them behind the group.
Am I near Melina?
Probably somewhat.
I'll lean over and while they're walking by, I'll say, "Who are those guys?"
You can't be serious.
No, I have no idea.
You've spent too much time underground, my friend. All right.
Probably.
Okay. So she kind of gestures toward the longer-haired individual. The one, with the white hair and, kind of just... He'd been rather silent from what you've seen of his brief interaction with, with the Count and all these other people that you don't know the names of yet. And, she just says that, that one there, it's a longer hair, is, he's the king.
The king of Ramsgate?
The king of the whole kingdom, yes, of Ramsgate, of Perrin, of Drake's Landing, of everything that falls in the kingdom, yes.
Oh.
My mouth makes a little O.
Well, okay. Uh, that's interesting. Okay. And who's the other guy?
That would be the Foreign Affairs Minister
Uh, of
of the entire kingdom.
oh,
He's the Grand Poobah.
of this and that.
Or is something happening that they needed to meet here?
I mean, I don't really keep myself concerned with such matters, but, well, as Father said, he's kind of the old coot that people come to for advice. So,
Um. Oh, okay. Well, I'm not really an ambassador of Thogladar, but I mean, there was some stuff that went down in Thogladar just recently that we stopped.
some stuff. Would you care to elaborate?
Give her a very brief. I'll just go through it. Well, we encountered a Bodak. We encountered a beholder, an undead beholder. Killed them both. Discovered corruption. Discovered that a lot of things, including my brother's death, was all because of this, and that there are people in Drake's Landing that essentially are linked into this somehow, and that's basically our direction that we were heading.
Yeah, they're worshiping a very evil god.
Orcus, I believe. Things are pointing to Orcus.
And you see her her face grows a bit concerned, serious. It seems something you said certainly seems familiar to her at the least. And yeah, at about that point, you see Magnus and the other guest kind of wrapping up a conversation. This other guest kind of exits through a side door up on the platform before Magnus turns around and makes his way back towards all of you. And says, "All right, I'm sorry for the interruption. Where were we? Starfruit Adventurers, yes?
Yes.
Right. So, what brings you here? How did you make the acquaintance of my lovely daughter?"
They actually did. I will be honest, I saw something was amiss, or thought something was amiss, and I ended up hiding in the woods in front of her friend here. Well, or is he with us still?
Yeah,
okay.
Alden is still there.
I ended up hiding in the woods somewhere near him, and
We've learned that we need to be cautious.
yes,
At
there have
this
been
point.
after some recent events, we've learned to be quite cautious.
Recent events.
I give him the same spiel that I
Yeah.
just gave her.
Yep. Okay. So let's. All right. A beholder, you say?
Yes.
Behold,
It
behold.
looked to be blind, or at least its eye was injured. But it was still a force to be reckoned with.
Strange that something like that would be in Thogladar.
Yep. In somewhat important person's basement. Well, they're not important anymore because they're dead. They were the Bodak.
What exactly is a bodak?
It is basically I reach in my pocket and pull out some notes and shuffle around and I say a Bodak, and I don't have a picture yet, but I show him like I have like it's like a stat sheet style thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's just Bodak, and I say it's undead, soulless remains of someone who revered Orcus. They exist only to cause death. They have extremely powerful mind attacks, and one of them nearly took all of us out. But the one we fought was not as strong yet. He must have just become one. But yeah, they are severe followers of Orcus, and we've fought quite a few. And I'll put the notes back in my pocket.
And so you say you're on your way to investigate this further, then?
Yes.
Well, don't let me keep you then. That seems rather serious. Should you find yourselves, well, safely on the other side of this, I think we could, well, could form some sort of working relationship, and I think there are a number of lost artifacts that could be quite useful if put in the proper hands and given to responsible stewards of such power. But it would seem you already have quite a bit on your plate.
If you tell us what they are, we might come across them in our travels, though.
Yeah, or if it's, something along the way.
Alright, well, as the eccentric old man that people come to for advice, I have a way of knowing things. And, well, it's come to my attention that a certain artifact pertinent to some old mage, can't say I'm too familiar on those details, but certain cloak, I believe it is, has been said to be located in, well, some old, some structure. I'm not really sure what it is. One of those things that's sort of been lost to the ages, But from what I hear, it's just off the road, somewhere between Ramsgate and Perrin, somewhere out in the hills. But this item, just known as the Cloak of the Grey, is said to belong to well, some powerful mage. Like I said, I don't know all the details, but I hear he was, well, not all that dissimilar to you. Sort of a heroic bent. Quite the crusader for good. Unfortunately, everyone meets their end sometime, and the stories say that he and his assets, shall we say, were left down there after some sort of, well, adventure of sorts went wrong. And, well, let's just say if something was fit for a hero of his stature, then surely it would be of use to those that still walk the earth, yes?
Sure. So what you're saying is he went down there, was killed, and left down there. Just to make sure I gotcha.
Well, that's about the size of it, yes.
Okay. Yep, gotcha. So, I looked at the other two, who are, I assume, both still over there looking by the lamp.
I'm looking at you, but I'm standing by Buck.
Bungdo is still looking at the lamp, but this, like, now he's just kind of like holding it and looking at all of the different sides of it.
Yeah, I mean, whatever's gonna be down there is probably in for a rude awakening, especially by that one, and I point at Bungdo.
Bungdo just kind of looks over, unaware of what's going on, but he heard his name. She's like, "What?"
No, I didn't say your name. I just
That
said
one?
that one. Yeah.
Oh,
Bungdo is now just that one.
Yep. That
Maya
is
looks
a new
slightly
moniker.
hurt.
Huh?
Maya looks slightly hurt.
Well. So yeah, but thankfully we have Maya. She keeps an eye on the rest of them.
And around this time, the large double doors swing open, and in walks Trogdor, or rides, as the case may be. What does Trogdor do as he enters?
Of course he rides.
If it's big enough for me to ride, I'm gonna ride.
All right. So yeah, upon his platinum dragon mount, he rides into this this audience hall. As
Bungdo notices this and his jaw kind of drops, realizing that he can be a rhino, so he turns into a rhino.
Please tell me you
Maya.
stepped away from the lamp.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Maya face palms and just goes to walk by Dogar.
Yeah. I just kind of facepalm as well, and I say, "Yep, there's the fourth of our group."
And Magnus seems a bit unsure where to turn his attention. The rhino that just appeared at the far end of the room, or the dragon man riding a dragon who just came through the doors.
Dragon man riding a dragon.
No sits.
Does he break the floor?
He does not break the floor. It's a pretty sturdy stone floor.
I don't know if it's Bungdo proof though.
Don't try it.
So, yes, Trogdor just kind of, saunters up on his steed.
I turn to him, not him, the other guy. Like, as you can see, we tend to surprise our enemies.
At this
Our
point, I summoned
friends.
Mage Hand and scratched his dragon behind the ear.
Okay. Yeah, the dragon's head, again, just kind of like leans back into the itch.
Yep.
Yeah. And, your name?
My name is Trogdor Thuchian, Paladin of Bahamut.
And I'm Magnus Ravendal, Count, one of the 5 counts of Ramsgate, and it's a pleasure to meet you. I hear you are, well, quite the holy man, having just come from the temple, what I hear.
I get down off the mountain, I say, "Nice to meet you too," and I shake his hand.
Alright. And he just says, "Well, I was just discussing with your friend here how, well, there may be some good to be done. Some lost artifact to be recovered and put to use in serving the people as they had been for so many years before their unfortunate loss."
Do you know anything about this cloak of gray that you were talking?
Well, I know it was the signature garb, so to speak, of this mage. I don't know per se what it does, but, well, there were certainly tales of it surviving all of the encounters that this great mage found himself embroiled in, and so one can only assume it's quite a potent magical item of some sort.
I nod my head.
Did you see what was in chat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't sense anything out of the ordinary.
Alright.
No demons here, if that's what you're wondering.
Is there anything, like, can't think of what it's called.
Ow. What was that noise?
What?
It sounded like a spoon hitting a glass or something. It's painful.
Anyway, what were you asking, Brown?
Is there, like, any, desecrated ground or anything?
No.
Okay.
Seems legit.
Just to have it.
Fair enough.
It's a good habit.
Yeah, especially given how Blackwell is compared to how this guy is.
So, yeah, he just says, well, best I can tell, it was some sort of potent magical item, and, well, something that was a party in doing so much good for so many people for such a long time. Certainly shouldn't be lying collecting dust underground, wouldn't you say?
I agree. But whatever was down there is still down there. So.
That is probably the case, yes.
Where's this at?
Well.
Some underground ruins between Vramsgate and Perrin.
Here's a question for you. I'm a little magical. Do you happen to know of any mages we could possibly have scry on this? I know there's ways of seeing, but I'm not sure exactly how to do it myself.
He thinks for a moment. As well, and he's thinking, well, how complicated is that spell? That's probably somewhere in the middle.
Can I make a history check?
History check?
Or even religion to know if any paladins or clerics would potentially know that? Scrying?
Oh, sure, go ahead and, I guess for that, go ahead and make a religion check.
Nope.
Yeah, you do seem to recall some scrying being done by various clergy of Bahamut that you've seen.
I'll say aloud while he's thinking, I potentially might know someone, or at the very least he could know someone, back at the temple that I came from.
Oh. Okay.
I actually need to look something up, because this could be really easy.
I'm pretty sure clerics can know scrying.
I believe they can? I know wizards and stuff can. I just didn't know.
Can druids?
That I don't know. Yeah, no, you can. I think.
Really?
How would you know that?
You can, but you may not be able to yet.
Yeah, there is always that little potential snag.
Yeah.
It says bard, cleric, druid, warlock, wizard.
Yeah. So,
Well, we have a druid, but
Level 5 spell.
oh,
then-
that's,
wait.
no, that's
you
way
cast
too
it
high.
level five. Yeah.
Yeah.
let's see. All right. So yeah, it would seem that Magnus doesn't know anyone off the top of his head, like at least that's currently around. But he says, well, I'm sure I could have someone brought here if you prefer to do it here, or as your friend here has noted, perhaps you could go see a cleric.
Yeah, maybe we'll go see a cleric. But yeah, that would definitely be something I'm gonna try to see if I can figure out is how to scry. So, but anyway, yeah. Thank you very much for the information. We'll definitely have to check it out, and it is pretty much kind of on our way. So.
Well, that's good to hear, but again, you do seem to be on some important business, so if this doesn't immediately take precedent, I understand.
I mean, it could be useful in what we're going to be encountering anyway. So.
That it could. All right.
Um,
We might need the help we can get based off what we're facing now.
Yeah.
It might be better to do that instead of continuing.
Yeah. I would say a slight diversion that's on our way would be probably advisable.
All right. Well, yeah, just keep me informed, and of course, should you end up uncovering this artifact, and well, by all means, if you do uncover it, use it for the quest you have at hand. But let me know, and perhaps perhaps this wouldn't have to be the end of our working relationship.
Definitely, we'll definitely be in touch. I look back at the rest of the group. Do we have anything we want to do while we're here other than go for the scry thing?
do that, but then afterwards, we should head into the library. Have to talk to someone about the tablet.
Okay. Does anybody want to go shopping?
Oh God.
Bungdo?
Wouldn't
Well,
mind spending some time at the library.
oh, okay. Bungdo, you and me shopping?
I suppose.
It's up to you.
I mean, I don't really need anything,
Okay.
but I will tag along.
No, I was gonna see if you wanted to just go look at some magic shit.
I'm down.
Alright. Yeah. So while they're at the library, we'll go look at some magic shit.
All right, and I guess we'll pick up with your exploits in Vramsgate next time.
Okay.
I thought I saw it somewhere. I can, at level 17, I can cast scrying.
Oh, well, you're almost there.
It's a oath feature. I get it at 17th level.